Well, hi there, Chris Walker speaking, and today I want to talk about moaning or intuition. And it's quite a simple process, but at the same token, quite intuitive and powerful. And it belongs to, again, the laws of nature, and it goes like this: if a snake was going through the grass, would you know to jump out of the way? If a branch was falling, would you know to jump out of the way? And when would you find that out? Would you find that out too late? Would you find it out after you got bitten, or before, or even before you saw the snake? So let's just go through the process, and it's numerically driven, so you can look at the graphic and follow along with the audio. Firstly, it's clear here that number one is when you start to complain. So you feel something's not right, and you might speak it to another person. You go, I don't feel right, I don't feel good about this, or I don't like that person, or I'm not sure about this process, or I'm not convinced this is the way I need to go. No matter what it is, you would get this intuition and or this sense, and you would start to complain. You would start to not feel sure. The second step is to take the thing you're complaining about and work out how that thing links to your intrinsic values. Now, what are your intrinsic values? That's a separate exercise to this audio and to this video, but you can work out, and there's many ways on my website to work out your intrinsic values. I've even put them on my blog. So you work out your intrinsic values. Now, let's say your intrinsic values, one of them was kindness or success or something. You ask yourself, does the thing I'm complaining about link to my intrinsic values? So does this thing I'm complaining about help or hinder my success? And if you can link that thing, which is the true or false, which is number three, if you can link the thing you're moaning about to your highest intrinsic value, then you will definitely have a false answer. The moaning is just your complaining. Now, if you can't link it, in other words, it's true, you cannot link this thing that's going on to your highest intrinsic values, then it's a true. Now, this is where this gets interesting. If it's a true, you bail out, because that means that you know you're getting an intuition. If it's a false, you know that you've got to readjust yourself. In other words, if you can link it to your intrinsic values, if your thing you're complaining about is linkable to your intrinsic values, then what you need to do is change your mind. But if you can't link it to your intrinsic values, what you've got there is an intuition. Now let's move on. If you complain about something, you are destined to sabotage it. So whatever you're moaning about or uncertain about or not clear about or not committed to, that is a guarantee that your intrinsic values are not being met in your mind, and we sabotage everything we cannot link to our intrinsic values. And that puts you in a very dangerous place, because it means it could be false and it could be true, but either way you're going to sabotage things, your job, your relationship, your health, whatever it is, and that's going to lead to a calamity and ultimately regret. Let's just move this on a little further and keep this rolling. Let's look at it from another. The two choices, it's either intuitive truth or it's false moaning. So when you get a complaint, or you start to grizzle about somebody, you say, oh, I don't like this job, or I don't like this person, or I don't like this situation I'm in, or I'm not sure about it, or I feel doubt about this, a doubt about that. You either got an intuition, which you need to trust, or you've got a judgment which you need not to trust. And what I'm trying to share here is a process that you can put any of these doubts and judgments and questions through, so you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you say, oh, I shouldn't complain about people, well, you're going to leave yourself exposed to incredible danger. I met a lady whose parents really incubated her, and they incubated her in New Guinea in an environment that was incredibly protected. So she never learnt the difference between moaning, which she probably did a lot of, and her intuition, which was 100% right. And when she was released to go to a private school up in Brisbane, she got severely attacked by people who anybody with a honed intuition would have known were bad eggs. So this difference between a moaning, complaining, not feeling comfortable and intuition is, in the sensory sense, impossible to determine. So if someone says to you, I don't feel good about this, that is no sign for you to follow their judgment. That is no sign for you to listen to them. Even when you say it to yourself, I don't feel good about this, that is still no sign, because it could be just your judgment, it could be your emotions, it could be your fears, it could be your just a whole lot of unfinished business, it could be a blink reaction. So what we do is we say, what are my intrinsic values? Can I link this thing to my intrinsic values? And there's a bit of creativity, a little bit of creativity required. You go, oh yeah, it can. And then if the answer is yes, I can, then you know it was a judgment. If you go, oh, I'm trying to work on it, how can I link that situation to my intrinsic values? If the answer is I can't, your intuition is really working double time for you. And at that point in time, you can change your mind and not go ahead or not proceed or not do what you're about to do. So one's an intuition and the other one is a judgment. If you leave it as a moan or an uncertainty or a doubt, it will lead to sabotage. So either way. So it's either a sabotage or a powerful intuition, and therefore you need to have this moment of a true or false answer so you can determine which direction travel. Do you obey your intuition and slice and dice, or do you work on your mind and work out how not to judge this situation? It's very important. But it all boils down to this. It all boils down to, is it an intuition or a judgment? Do you act or you don't act? Firstly, let's go to number one, a doubt. Number two, can you link it? Number three, cannot. Therefore, it's an intuition. Act now. Let's look at the other right-hand side. Number one, it's a doubt. Can you link it? You can link it to your intrinsic values. Then it's your BS. Change your mind. This is Chris Walker. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.